Hello, guten Abend, golf fans. Welcome to the fun fest of golf. This is a human skeleton. Well, not an actual human skeleton. It is a tiny skeleton which has been modeled on the basis of a human skeleton, rather as this golf club has been modeled on the basis of a golf club. See how the golf club fits in this skeleton's hand. My purpose is to show you, for all that I can, the scientific and psychological principles of the golf game. For example, here we have a sheep's head. Not much use on the golf course, not much use for anybody at all. But on the other hand, looking over here, what do we discover? We discover the skeleton of a fish. What can we learn from the fish? What should we learn from the fish? Should we learn anything from the fish? I will come to that later. Over the next several hours, I'll be demonstrating how, in psychological terms, oh my God, another skeleton, this time rather larger than the other one, but also in no shape to play golf. So, the principles have been laid down. This fish, by its very nature, is in many ways unsuitable for the rigors of the golf course. What one has to understand about the fish is that no fish in history has ever completed 18 holes on a golf course, because they do not survive out of the water. So that is why I throw this away now and describe in more detail how the human body and the reptile body acts.
Now let's have a wee look at the professor's swing here. You notice his body is completely still and his eyes never leave the fish.
Here is a human body. There's the head, there's the neck, there is the legs. And the hands, of course, come down in front like that. Now, to show you the difference between the human and the fish, I'll draw the fish in a blue color rather than the red. The fish is more like that, you see, and with a big tail like that, and a fin here, for example, just like the fish I was showing you earlier, with an eye here, and of course an eye is the other side, which you can't see, but nobody can really make much of that. But if a fish takes a golf club like that, with his fin, and the man takes a golf club like that with his hands, you see the strain on the back of the man as he swings it back. There is pains here, and of course the fish only has to go like that, and no strain on the back, it goes straight over like that. So, the back is a vital part of the anatomy of a first-class golf player. And that is why no one should ever try to do drawings like that, cricking the back, because this one solid motion through the pancreas back, cocking the wrist, and never resting anything else, of course. But this is not a golf club, of course, because it would be too dangerous with all these Bunsen burners about. Bunsen, of course, being a German who invented the burner in the old days, I think around about 1876. Herr Bunsen von Düsseldorf came up with this very nice burner, which, as you see, burns perfectly well. But I stray from my subject. You see, the fish, once again, I use the blue crayon. The fish here has not moved at all, but the golf swing of the fish is through the ball, under the water, over there. Whereas the man, poor soul, should put on some nice shoes made by, I should think, Footjoy, one of those firms, probably with nice, comfy spikes in it. Always remember to get the spikes the right way down, towards the ground. Never stand on the shoes, because this causes great pain on the back. And here we have perhaps the ideal animal for golf, the penguin. Intensely sociable, well-equipped and beautifully turned out. And what about the supple Gregus Normanis, denizen of the deep? So we take our minds back several billion years when the earth was just mud. Then out of the sea crept these little fish, according to Darwin. And who are we to make doubts about Darwin? He's probably quite right. Anyway, the fish jump out of the sea, and suddenly they develop these little legs. You can see on this fish we have here, which is very, very old, probably 14 billion years old, preserved in lava. And here, after the animals, the fish develops the legs, the animals decide, why not jump around up and down the trees? And so the first ape, the first hairy ape, the simian man, begins. Here we have an actual skeleton of one of these early men who jumped up into the trees. And we can see from the skeleton that his backside was central to his centrifugal sense of balance. We now see if you place a club in his hand, and of course early man always had a club with which to gather all his meat and fish and things like that, he could hit a little ball just like that. But he was not searching for little balls. Early man was searching for little early women. Now, that also places a strain on the back. Whereas the fish is completely happy swimming around in the sea, but as soon as it gets on the land, the pressure on the back becomes enormous, and you look how ill and seedy the man is compared to the fish, who is almost in perfect health. What can we learn from this? Practically nothing. We learn nothing at all. About the game of golf, however, we learn a lot. For the fish has no sense of humor. The man has a sense of humor. This is why the man took up golf and the fish neglected it.
And here we have a classic example of the sense of humor. Young Colin looking very cross, but it is only to amuse the crowd. He throws the ball away. Here we have another young man breaking up his club just for fun. And Jose Marie, well, what does he do with the ball? He kicks it. One cannot help giggling just to see the sheer joy of the game as he chucks the ball away. And Brian Barnes, Barnesy as we call him, moving sideways like a crab. What could be more amusing than that?
And so we see the young Nick Feldo jumping up the tree with all the grace of a gazelle and all the charm of a Nick Feldo. And look, who is going up the tree now? Why, it is the determined Bernhard Langer. He is going to hit it out the tree, no mistake about that. Go on, Benny, give us one for us. And here we see yet again one of the many faces of Colin Montgomery, all of them exactly the same, but what charm. Colin, by the way, is no relative of the other Montgomery who had such fun in the desert with Robber, the desert fox. And now what is Feldo the fun star up to? He's doing his head around. Is there no end to the gags from this golfer? My, ha, ha, ha. What a funny joke. So, as a doctor, I am often asked, what is the perfect combination for the ideal golfer? I have to say, you have to take half a fish and half a man. Ideally, the brain of the fish and the heart of the man. We need the spine of a conger eel for its flexibility. We need the strength of a gorilla in the wrists. We also need, of course, a certain amount of charm, a little ha-ha machen, as we call it in Germany. You know, the ability to make people chuckle with joy just to see him play. And that goes for the women as well, because women are an important part of the new golf scene. Men and women mingling together forever and ever, wandering around the earth playing golf. What a future.